Hello, friends. Welcome to Surviving Tomorrow, a podcast, newsletter, and publication that helps you navigate life in an age of democratic destruction, ecological collapse, and economic irrelevance. Available for free on Substack, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Facebook, and YouTube. I'm Jared A. Brock. Everybody, it seems, loves billionaire Warren Buffett. Heck, even I love Warren Buffett. All that cute, aww-shucks Midwest yokelism. All those adorable grandfatherly folksy words of wisdom, all those video clips of him slurping Cokes, chomping McDonald's breakfast sandwiches, and spooning Dairy Queen sundaes like a 6-year-old. Just your everyday, pulled himself up by his bootstraps country boy, whose dad just happened to be a stockbroker-turned-four-term libertarian Republican Congressman at a time when insider trading was legal for legislators, and who got his buddies to bankroll his son's investment business. You know, the friendly billionaire living humbly in his modest, itty-bitty, tiny little 6,570 square foot mansion, jet-setting around on his multi-million-dollar plane that he nicknamed the Indefensible. Isn't that clever? And amassing a personal fortune of more than $100 billion. Polls regularly say that he's one of the most trusted men in America because he's a good billionaire, right? Why do we fall for such cockamamie PR campaigns? For more than 50 years, Warren Buffett has grown rich from his stakes in Chevron, a company that has destroyed habitat and lives for more than a century, and just last week became the first corporation to send a man to prison. He's made his money through Coca-Cola, a brutal monopoly that has subsumed more than 400 competitor brands, stolen water rights from millions, lobbied against ending Xinjiang forced labor, and is contributing greatly to the global diabetes crisis. He's made his money from Wells Fargo, possibly the most rotten bank in American history, which is embroiled in an unending criminal activity, including racketeering, creating millions of fake accounts without customer consent, and practicing straight-up organizational racism. Buffett has made his money from Visa, MasterCard, and Amex, predatory companies that have debt-trapped hundreds of millions of people and are leading contributors to the unsustainable economy that is bankrupting families and destroying society. Buffett has made his money from Apple, a company that knowingly used child labor for years, and probably still does, engages in massive amounts of illegal anti-competitive activity, and has offshored more than $250 billion to date, withholding taxation from the communities they profit from. Buffett has made his money from Johnson & Johnson, nicknamed a kingpin company for selling billions of dollars worth of opioids. Buffett has made his money from Moody's Corporation, one of the crooked ratings agencies that gave AAA ratings to highly toxic CDOs, setting off the worst financial crisis since the Great Depression and causing the bankruptcy and eviction of millions of families. Buffett has made his money from Suncor, the 6th largest polluter in Canada, known for polluting the Athabasca River, falsifying records, and poisoning children. You get the point. The list goes on and on and on, literally hundreds of subsidiaries and thousands of crimes. We used to have a term for people who made their money by destroying the planet, abusing women and minorities, and benefiting from thousands of global-scale crimes against humanity. We called them inmates. Considering how much wealth Warren Buffett has extracted from society, he doesn't come anywhere close to contributing his fair share to the nation. Over a 5-year period, Buffett grew his wealth by $24.3 billion, but paid just 0.1% tax on it. Even by standard tax accounting, he's paying just 18.9% income tax, far less than the average working family. Sure, Buffett admits that the tax system needs fixing, but pushing words out of your mouth isn't nearly enough to actually create equality in society. Not when billionaires and their corporations control the very Congress that's supposed to tax and regulate them. Warren Buffett has, in fact, popularized a new tax evasion model by which most billionaires now avoid paying the costs of civilization. According to ProPublica, Buffett has famously held onto his stock in the company he founded, Berkshire Hathaway. That has allowed Buffett to largely avoid transforming his wealth into income. Since Berkshire Hathaway does not pay a dividend, this has enabled him to avoid hundreds of millions of dollars in taxation each year. Many Silicon Valley and infotech companies have emulated Warren Buffett's model, eschewing stock dividends. Companies like Microsoft and Oracle offered shareholders rocketing growth and profits, but did not pay dividends. Google, Facebook, Amazon, and Tesla all do not pay dividends. The end result? More than half of all American billionaire wealth is now permanently held as unrealized gains, totally untaxable by the public, yet billionaires can borrow cheaply against their wealth to fund their absurdly lavish lifestyles and weaponize their wealth to amass even more power and control of the global economy. Whether billionaire sycophants like it or not, we clearly need a billionaire wealth tax because elites no longer trigger income tax, dividends tax, and capital gains tax. This, of course, is the point where billionaire fans say, but he's giving all his money to charity. No, friends, he's not. True charity directly helps the poorest people in society. Philanthrocapitalism isn't charity. It's an expression of power that leads to a transfer of power to the elites. Philanthrocapitalism is a means by which billionaires evade taxation, retain their family wealth perpetually, and control the fates of millions of others by shaping public policy. Warren Buffett's business partner, in fact, is currently building a dystopian college dormitory complex that doesn't have windows. The vast majority of Buffett's wealth will end up in the hands of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. This is the same institution that's lobbying hard for our Orwellian digital surveillance COVID passports, when paper ones would clearly do, gives billions in grants to private companies, wants us all to eat lab-grown synthetic meat, and plans to geoengineer the planet by blotting out the stars. Let's face it, billionaire charity is just another rich person swindle, a desperate attempt to solve the masses and keep them from demanding a real social safety net. We don't need their peanuts in charity. We need them to pay their taxes. And remember, for every quote-unquote decent philanthropic billionaire, there are 10 Saudi dictators, libertarian surveillance-loving anarcho-capitalists like Peter Thiel, and oil magnates like Charles Koch, whose foundations rammed through Citizens United, the horrendous democracy-destroying Supreme Court ruling that made corporations human beings in the eyes of the law. So much for charity. We need a new global economic system. Here's a quote from the New York Times. Mr. Buffett is actually the most dangerous kind of billionaire we have. The worst billionaires are the good billionaires. The sort who make it seem like the problem is the distortion of the system, when in fact the problem is the system. The current system is a set of social arrangements that make it possible for anyone to gain and guard and keep so much wealth, even as millions of others lack for food, work, housing, health, connectivity, education, and dignity. Every honest person knows there's no such thing as putting your money to work for you. You just weaponize your capital to put others to work for you. This raises an interesting question. What exactly has Warren Buffett contributed to society that warrants his $100 billion net worth? The answer? Rich people gave him their money. He used it to purchase extraction machines, called corporations, and then used the profits to buy more extraction machines. That's it. By comparison, the average worker in one of the companies Buffett controls, the active contributors who create 100% of the value of his stock, if that person was to make $20 per hour, they would have to work full-time for 2.5 million years to actually earn the wealth that Buffett possesses. Conversely, if Berkshire Hathaway was equally owned by all of its 360,000 employees, every single one would be a millionaire. Clearly, our system isn't working for achieving any sense of fairness, care for the planet, dignity for the productive contributor workers, or widespread well-being. And that's the real goal, isn't it? Forget this dog-eat-dog, survival of the fittest, winner-take-all, loser dies in poverty nonsense. We are a literal family, and we need to start acting like it. Despite the actual facts surrounding Warren Buffett's life work, I still can't find a way to dislike him. He's just too cute. His hagiographers have created an aura that seems almost impenetrable. It's the most dangerous kind of marketing in the world. The kind that makes us believe billionaires are somehow moral and good, even when the literal math shows that they are extractive, exploitative, anti-human criminals. And the whole world seems to have fallen for it. Thanks for listening to Surviving Tomorrow. Please give us a 5-star review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and share this episode by email and on social media so we can reach more people and grow our community of resistors. We are listener supported, and we need your help. Please visit jaredbrock.com to see all the ways that you can get involved. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.